Right, here we go. It's going to be a series of lessons on basic algebra and the things you sure ready to be at level 6/7 on that. Series done over the next days, each lesson at 5 o'clock. Sheets that we don't complete, it's a good idea to keep them in lessons. So let's start off with this nice simple operations sheet and see how many of these you can get through in the next minute just to walk. Right, there you go. Don't worry if you didn't finish them all, and if you wanted more, scroll down, you'll see when you download the sheets, see questions, the answers are. Let's just quickly go through the first couple of these to check you right way you can check the answer. First of all, when doing these, make sure you work from inside of brackets outwards, and remember, some people learn BODMAS of. The O stands for of, powers of, sine of, cosine of, and all sorts of things. Some people have BIDMAS. That the I stands for indices or brackets, index, subtraction. It's also worth noting that division and multiplication, addition and subtraction, between the two, the matter. Anyway, let's get started on this. So we've got to work out the brackets first. 8 divided by 2. Got that indice there we've got to do first. So that's 15. That index has got to be done. Squared 9, and we squared bracket there. We need to do this bracket inside here next. So that's 20. It's 19. This is 20. 19 gives us 30. Let's have a look quick. 2. Next track. You can then look at the rest of the answers later by downloading this and just put the page. Now we're going to do 18 divided by 3 inside this bracket first. So that is 6 squared. Inside of this bracket, 14 minus 4, that's 10 times by 2 squared, which 6 squared is 36. 10 times 3, and then we get 6. Don't want to spend too much time on this. We're here to do more algebra, so let's go at some straightforward letters for. Okay. Start off just giving you 60 seconds to see how. Scroll down to give you screen. 60 seconds to see how many of these you. Okay, hopefully just quickly. I'll start with x, down, multiply by 3x, then 6, 9. Start with y, double it, 2y, then subtract. I start with y, treble it, then t. So treble y is to times by 3 and t. I start with x, add 5, then multiply the result by 7. So times all that by 7. Could have also written it 7 5 by multiplying out the brackets. We'll do. Then in question 5, I start with x, add 3, then divide the result. Or you could brackets, or so written x over 4, dividing each term by. Just a couple more I had here, couldn't fit on screen. See if you just give you 10 seconds, see if you can get those off. Go through. Okay, that should have been enough time to do both. Start with A, subtract X, then Q result. That's the rubber. Start with Y, subtract X, square the result, and divide by 4. Okay, and then the rest of the questions on this sheet, repeating those, give you a chance to get some more practice. Some tricky ones at the end for you to go at. I'll fill in the answers to these over the next. Check those later. Right, let's move on. Collecting light terms. Nice. Hopefully, see how we can just warm you up until we get to the real algebra. Another 60 seconds to see how many of these you've done in. If you have any questions, just type them into the chat. Just be aware that the chat is home. Right, let's go through this. See. What I'm going to do is we're going to group together the like terms. In this case, the 2x and the 3x gives me x. Then I'm going to 3 and the 5, add those together, 8. 4x minus 3x is x. 3 plus 5, 8. Now be careful with moving brackets. Let's just remove brackets first. 2x, and we're going to minus everything in here. So it's minus the 3x, 5. A very common mistake is to get an answer of 8. See, we're going to get minus x, 3 minus 5, 2. And a common answer here is mistake is minus x plus 8. Going on, so we're going to look at terms. So that's the y squared terms. Y terms, only one. We'll the x squared terms, and we see there's just one x. So the y squared terms, 3y squared plus y squared is 4 squared. X squared plus x squared minus, and we've got x, you might want to cross off terms as you go through them. Yeah. On the next one, let's remove the brackets. Squared minus 5 minus 2 squared plus x squared 7x minus 7x. So y squared, so y squared minus 2y squared is squared. We've got a 4x squared plus an x squared is 5 squared. And we've just got another minus 4 and a x. Remember, we can't add x squared to x or y squared to y, xy to x or y, or even x squared or y squared. Right. Okay, then it repeats some more straight, the same level of difficulty again for you to practice if you think you need it. So we've got a 3p squared. There's no other p squared. Just write down 3 squared. And we've got a minus pq and a plus 7p qp. Now they're actually the same because you realise pq is the same as p, the matter. Imagine if you had 2 times, you know that equals 2. This is the same result. So we've got a plus 6 q. And how many q squared? We've got a q squared here and a 4q squared there. So that's 5q squared. And then we've just got a 1p squared. Okay. Right. That's some powers. You'll see in the sheet. Let's just take it. These are the power theorems you need to know. You need to know anything to the power of 0 is 1. You need to know that a negative power of something, 1 over that thing, so 3 to the minus 2 is 1 over 3 squared. You need to know that a to the m times a to the n is the a m n, and the a's, it must be the same number. So here we've got 2 cubed times 2 squared is 5. It wouldn't work if you had 2 cubed and 5 squared. You couldn't use that rule. Quotient. So again, a to the m divided by a to the n. We actually take them away when we power to a power, multiply them. You've got a product and you've got power. Each thing needs to be raised to that power. And similarly, two numbers divided, both numbers need to be raised to power. And a fraction, if you've got a power of the fraction, what it means is the top of the fraction is the power we raise it to, and the bottom of the fraction is that root. Okay, so you can see here 2 to the 2/3 means we raise 2 to the power of 2 and cube fraction. Anyway, let's just practice some of these. Let's look at the powers level 2 page width. There we go. Let's have a go at these. Do these without a calculator. I'm going to give minutes to see how many. Okay, let's have a look. So remembering negative indices means over it. So we have 1 over 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. Get 1, 6. 25 to the minus a half. Remember that the minus means 1 over, so we get 1 over 20 a half. And remember, this bottom means what square root we have, what root we have. We've got the square root. Square rooted, and the 1 is what power you raise the 25 to, so that's just going to be if. That's right. Right, 216 of minus 2 over 3, so that's going to be over 216 power of 2 thirds, smaller, 1 over 16 square. We could do it that way, or that's actually going to make it a bit difficult because you've actually got 216 squares going to make you a very big number. It'd be much easier. It doesn't matter which way around you do these. Actually do it as cube root 216 squared. So it doesn't matter if you cube root first or square first. Much easier to try and work out 216. So you can try and think number times by itself times give you 216. Well, we know it's not going to be 2. That's 8. 3 is 27. 4 is 60. 5 is 125. So it's looking like it's going to be 6. You're not quite sure. Do a quick calculation. Check. 6. 6 is 36 over 6 times 3. 18 plus the 3. 6. You can see 6 cubed is equal to 16. You should know your cubes all the way up to 5 at least, and then have a good guess at 6. I don't think 7 comes. So we know that that is 6 squared, which is 1 over 6. Go back to the scroll back across. So now 1 over this, if we get the minus, 1 divided by this, you divide by something. Remember, you flip the fraction, you turn it down. So effectively, minus sign just means you flip a fraction. So this is just going to be equal to power 3. And then we just got to raise each bit to the power of 3. So 3 cubed 7 and 4 cubed 64. Okay, 8 over 27 to the minus 1/3. Remember, the minus means we flip this. Okay, so that's 27 over 8 power of 1/3, which is the cube root. Each of those, so 7 over the cube 8. Cube root of 27 is 3 of 2. Okay, same again. Minus means we turn it upside down, so we end up with 60 over 49 power of 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 2 bit. That means square root both. Okay, so I'll square root both. 64 square rooted 8 and 49 square 7. And you might be thinking, how do I cube 7? Well, if you're not sure, that's you times by 8. 8 times 6, 48. 7 cubed. 7 times 4. 7, 60. 7 times 3. There we go. And that's the sort of standard you're expected to be able to do it at. I wouldn't expect you to 8 and 7 cubed off the top of your heads, but you can easily square 8 and square 7 and then times. Right, we're just going to have a look at some straightforward surds problems, and we're trying to simplify and get them into a number times the square root of another number. Make the q as small as possible. I'll give you, let's just actually break this down. Give you a few seconds to think about the square root of 8, see what you come up with. Go through that. Then we'll do this. So we'll do them one by one. Okay, that's enough time to do the first one. Now, key to these is finding square numbers, and if you can't see square numbers, now it's easy to see that square number 4 goes into 8, this one, but on other numbers it might not be so easy. So what you can do is you can prime factorize, and this is a foolproof method, it always works. Okay, so we can see we've got 2 times 2 times another 2. Well, everywhere you have a pair of numbers tied together, that gives you a square. So therefore, you can take it out. So if you can imagine, the square root of 8 is to the square root of 2 square root times 2, which gives you square root of 2 times 2, 2, and this is 2 squared, square rooted, which is just 2. And obviously we get 2 there. We can't square root that anymore. There's no more square numbers that go into that. So this is how we can do these questions. So therefore, actually a shortcut is to realise you've got a pair, take it straight out, your 2. Now, give you the same amount of time to have a go at the square root of 3 times the square root of 15. Right, so well, square root of 3. Square root of 15 is times 5. So we've got root 3 times root 3 times 5. And again, we have a pair is a square, so square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 3 all squared. That undoes the square root, so it just leaves us here. And we get 5. There's no square numbers again. 5, so that's our number that goes into here. I can give you 30 seconds to do the next two. See how you get on. Right, let's have a look at these. So square root of 1, 5. Now you may or may not spot what square numbers go into that. Don't. Just prime factorize. We can see that 5 goes into 1, 2, 5, at least 25. Square root of that, we get 5. So we can see that's 5 times 5, and the square root of 55, 5 times 5, times another square root of 5 times 1 pair there, and we got another pair there. So that means square root of 5 times 5 is 5. Square root of 5 times 5, another 5. So you get 5 times 5 is 25. Yeah. There's two yellows, that's 1, 5, another 5. and then we're just left with 11. Similarly, 1, 3, 2. Everybody's going to spot the square numbers that goes into that. So 2 into 1, 3, 2, 66, and goes into that. 3, 2, 2, 11. This is the beauty of the factor trees, although tidily done. Spot. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. You still get so, and 12, square root of 12 is 2 times 3, so we can write this, do the 2 times the 4 together, then we've got the square root of 2, another 2 here, times 3, 11, times the square root of 12, do another 3, one pair of 2's, another pair of 2's, and then we've got a 3, so that's another pair. You get 2 times 4 times 2 times 3 coming out. So 2 times 4 is 8, times by another 2, 16, times another 3, 3 times 16, we do times 10 is 30, 3 times 18, 8. And the only number we've not got in there now is that 11 there. There. Right. To get up to the end of the lesson. We might not get to the, let's just see if we can get to the end of this lesson. I'll just rub out my workings here so as not to distract this question. Let's see how you get on with simplifying these thirds on the page now. This one, this one, this one, this one. I'll give you 2 minutes to see how many of those you can get through. Don't worry if you can't get through. Go through. You should, if you know your stuff, be able to do all those 2 minutes. Right, here we go. So square root of 18 divided by the square root of 2. What we do here, again, we try and write the square root of 18 down to minimum doing before. Try and simplify that first before we try dividing the square root of 2. And let's just do some side work here. So 18, same as 2 times 3. So again, we've got a pair coming out. So it's going to be 3, 2. You have the 3 coming out. Square root of 3 times 2. 3's will come out, just leave us 3 when we square root them. So we got 3 square root of 2 divided by square root of 2. See that the square roots of 2 cancel to just leave us 3. Similarly on this question, we've got root 35. Just rub out this work. So no, I'll do scroll, leave working on space to do. So we got the square root of 35, do the square root of square root of 7. So what we have is 5 root 35 equals 5 times the square root of 5 times the square root of 7. And we got it over 20 root 7. Well, 20, if we just write that as multiples of 5, because we see how to cancel it, is 5 times 4. And we got the root times by the root 7. And you can see we can cancel the root 7 bottom, and we can cancel out the 5 top and bottom. Must remember, when cancelling fractions, you must have a factor top and bottom, i.e. something times everything else. Because all the symbols here are times, these are all automatically factors, so we can cancel down. So our answer is going to be the square root of 5 over 4. Okay, let's multiply out these brackets. And what I tell my students is to always do FOIL. Well, 9 plus root 2 squared means 9 plus the square root of 2 times by 9 plus the square root of 2. Common mistake, just to square the 9, just square the root of 2 if you don't write the brackets out like this. And every time you see this, if you write out first, outer, inner, last, that helps you get things in the right order. So F stands for the first two things. 9 times 9 is 81. Outer two things, 9 times root 2 gives me 9 root 2. Root 2 times 9 is also 9 root 2. That's the inner two things. Then do the last two things together. I just get root 2 times root 2, which is 2. And then I can just group the like terms. 81 plus 2 is 83. And 9 root 2 plus 9 root 2 is going to be 18 lots of 2. 9 lots plus 18 lots of square root of 2, get 82. What you can do with surds, you think of 9 root 2 as just 9x plus 9x, the x being the root 2. That will often help you get to the right thing. A lot of students make a mistake here and some do some strange things adding 9 root 2 together. Right, doing the same thing here. Let's write out first, outer, inner, last. So first two things is 20 plus. The outer two things, 8 times root 3 is 8 3. Inner two things is 3 root 3. Last two things, root 3 times root 3 is just 3. So we do 24, add 3 will give me 27. 8 lots of root 3 plus 3 lots of root 3 is 11, 3. And that's our half hour up there. So that will do for today. Some more tomorrow. Start going into more real algebra, but we've got to be able to make sure we basics carry on.